Okay, here we go. Now we're going to do the tag dominoes. The last video I did, I said we were going to do tag dominoes, and we wound up doing It's Easy, Isn't It? And we talked about the intonation. So this one is tag dominoes, and I will put a link on both videos so that you can look back and forth at the different ones. All right, call out some statement and ask students to tell you the question tag for each, checking that they use the correct intonation each time. Example, he speaks Russian, doesn't he? You didn't tell him about the other night, did you? So you've been to Paris, have you? Close the door, will you? Point out that the intonation question tags can rise or fall depending on whether the person is asking for confirmation or asking for a genuine question. All right, the last activity we did, the falling intonation meant that, or the rising intonation, sorry. See, I get confused on how to explain it. Means not sure, but when it's low tone, it means you have some agreement. All right, for example, you don't like Emma, do you? No, I can say it that way. But if I say that, I mean, I know that you don't like her. You don't like Emma, do you? So when I go up, I'm not sure if you like her or not. คุณชอบเอมม่าหรือเปล่า Alright, ผมไม่แน่ใจ คุณชอบเอมม่าหรือเปล่า You don't like Emma, do you? Yes, I do. She's really nice. What made you say that? Alright, so ใช่ฉันชอบเนาะเป็นผู้หญิงสุดยอด คุณคิดแบบนั้นทำไม Why do you think that? Alright, so you can answer either way. He said he did, even though that the rising tone meant he was not sure that he really liked Emma or not. Alright, or change it around. You don't like Emma, do you? You don't like Emma, do you? No, not really. We haven't got much in common. Alright, so the falling tone means that you have the agreement that you already know they don't like that person. Alright, so if you get confused, always go back and look, because even for native speakers, we don't think about the question sometimes. Question tags can rise or fall depending on whether the person is asking for confirmation or a genuine question. Alright. So they should have told you, because maybe you're teaching and this is your second language and you have to keep making a reference whether you should rise or fall. Just like me, I had to write on this first activity, agreement or not sure. All right, so if we're falling, we're not sure. You don't like Emma, do you? It says, no, not really. So this is an agreement. You don't like Emma, do you? Yes, I do. She's really nice. What made you say that? This is so confusing. Even in first language, like I said, a lot of times we don't even think about whether we're agreeing or not. But the intonation in the situation, we fully understand what the other person is, or we typically think we understand, I should say. So this can be a misunderstanding, a miscommunication. We have to be careful. All right, explain that the students are going to play dominoes with question tags. Divide the students into groups of 3 or 4. Give each group a set of dominoes placed face down. So you're going to cut out this sheet and you're going to turn it over face down. All right, so they can't see what's written on it. They're going to draw 1, 1, 1, 1. All right, and then another student starts by placing a domino on the table. Then students take it in turns to put one domino next to a matching statement or tag. If a student can't play, he or she misses a turn. Go around listening, helping, and correcting as necessary. So this is a freer activity where the students can keep working on their own, and they'll be raising their hand or calling for you to come help as they need help, and you keep monitoring the class. The student who gets rid of all his or her dominoes first wins the game. Have a class feedback session. Ask the students to read out the questions on the dominoes using the correct intonation each time, depending on whether they are asking for confirmation or asking a genuine question. All right, so here we go. Let's look at the activity here, see if we can do this. All right, so this is the whole activity, and this says it's an advanced resource. It's from the new Headway Advanced Resource Book. Okay, so from Oxford University Press. So they have a lot of good activities in your book that you can use. You can make a photocopy and use it with your groups. All right, so the last one actually starts here. He can't have finished so soon. He can't have finished so soon. And then the answer to that one would be, can he? All right, because this is a domino game, it will go like circular. All right, so you've seen the film, have you? Pass me the remote control, will you? Let's hit the road, shall we? They come from Mars, don't they? You're just bone idle. I've never heard that one before. That's a good one. You're just bone idle, aren't you? You haven't paid the bill, have you? So it works now, does it? He's already given in, hasn't he? Or has he? She's running late, isn't she? He hasn't turned up yet, has he? They know how to party, don't they? She's very understanding, isn't she? You're working with Max, aren't you? Give me a hand, will you? Will you? Okay, I'm not sure. Tell me the truth, won't you? He eats like a horse, doesn't he? It doesn't look promising, does it? Let's get a takeaway. Let's get a takeaway. Let's get takeaway, we would say. Let's get a takeaway, shall we? The weather is looking bad. The weather was looking bad, wasn't it? And that's how you're going to get your agreement. It was really an accident, wasn't it? You won't take no for an answer, will you? He can't have been selected, can he? You'll be taking the car, won't you? He can't have finished so soon, can he? Okay, so there's your activity and the intonation. Really before you do the activity on your own sheet, maybe you need two sheets, one like this, and then you need one where you've already worked through the answers. And that's what I would have to do. And I would get somebody else to help me. I will get my wife to help me because sometimes I'm not sure whether we're asking a genuine question or asking for confirmation. Sometimes I have to work through it out loud with another person. So this is not the easiest of activities, but it is something that you will see on test, and it's something definitely that you go through in your book. And really, the first thing is just to see that your students can read them, all right? Because for me, my students can have difficulty, especially with don't they, have you, has he, isn't she, will you, doesn't he, shall we, wasn't it, can he? All right, questions have that intonation, all right, because when you're speaking, I don't see the question mark, all right, I can't see it, I have to hear it. เราไม่ได้เขียนเวลาเราพูดเราไม่รู้ว่าเป็นคำถามหรือเปล่าเกี่ยวกับภาษาไทยเราจะใช้คำศัพท์ที่จะเป็นคำถามคุณจะไปตลาดไหมครับ alright เราไปคำถามแบบนั้น alright อันนี้ไปครับ alright ไปไหมครับ are you going or not alright so with this one have you shall we aren't you does it alright I can put the T in there if I need it does it I think most people will say does it and the ES changes to a Z sound. All right, does has a buzz to it. All right, that's a very difficult sound in Thailand. A lot of my students cannot make the Z sound. Does it? Thai does not have a Z sound. Does it? All right, they use a different character, and it's not exactly the right sound. It's just a S. Does it? All right, does it? Isn't she? Isn't she? So see, there's a Z sound here too. Isn't it? Isn't she? Don't they? Aren't you? Won't you? Does it? Wasn't it? Will you? Won't you? All right. So these are normal speech patterns, but difficult for Thai speakers. All right, because the sounds, if you haven't worked on the sounds yet, it's difficult. But I will put a video that should help you, and this video will you can sing together with the video until your mouth can make the sounds. Singing is good practice. So here we go. Will you? Shall we? Doesn't he? Isn't it? Can't they? Do you? Won't we? Aren't I? All right, so this is the extension activity. Usually I don't get to it. It will take the whole class for me to do the dominoes. We could do probably a 15-minute activity with my students. Probably will take an hour or more, because once they finally get it, then they want to play it. At first they don't want to play because they don't understand and it's difficult. But once they get the activity, then they want to play it again. It winds up being an hour or more. All right, so I could build a whole class on this one activity. All right, but that's important. Your goal is the goal. The goal is to get them to use question tags and to use intonation to get them speaking. So right there, that's my goal. I'm not making super big goals, because if you never get your goal, then you never feel satisfied in teaching. So I want a goal that's reachable. If my students can say, will you, shall we, doesn't he, isn't it, can't they, do you, won't we, aren't I, if they can say these and use these properly, very good, very nice. And then we have to review the next time we have class, which usually is a week, or if there's a holiday, 2 weeks. All right, so a lot of times they've forgotten this that I taught, and it's very difficult to refresh their memories. All right, so we have to, but I always have this in the hopper, this extra extension lesson that we can use to make sure that we use our time well and we review the material that goes along with the lesson. All right, so they can make, in pairs, write statements which match the following tags, so they write their own. Maybe, will you? Are you going to travel next month? Will you? Will you travel next month? Will you? Shall we? I have to think about that one even. So do these activities ahead of time and write down your answers so you have some examples to give the students. It's always good if you have some examples to show them. All right, so I'll see you next time.